Have you ever felt like your mind is a battlefield, pulled in every direction, overwhelmed by noise, unable to focus? In a world that never slows down, staying centered feels almost impossible. But here's a truth the Stoics knew well. It's not the world that must be calm, it's you. Time passes for everyone, but focus, that's a discipline. It's the sharp edge that cuts through confusion, the anchor in the storm. When your attention is scattered, even hours of effort lead nowhere. But with clarity, even a single moment can change everything. The Stoic Emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." He wasn't offering comfort. He was pointing to a path, one where strength comes not from controlling the world, but from mastering yourself. This video is an invitation, not just to listen, but to reclaim that inner steadiness. We'll explore timeless strategies to help you stay calm, clear, and in control, even when everything around you isn't. If that resonates with you, stay with me. And if you're ready, take the first step. Type in the comments, "I choose clarity over chaos." Let's begin. Number 1, embrace emotional agility. Have you ever noticed how one calm person can change the energy of an entire room? In the midst of conflict or stress, their quiet composure speaks louder than any words. It's not silence out of fear. It's the steady presence of someone who understands one timeless truth. We cannot control what happens, but we can always control how we respond. This is the essence of emotional agility, the Stoic art of facing your emotions without being ruled by them. A resilient leader doesn't suppress anger or hide insecurity. They acknowledge it, understand it, and then choose the response that aligns with their values, not their impulses. The philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Your reaction is the canvas upon which your character is drawn. Anyone can explode when provoked, but it takes strength to pause, reflect, and act with intention. This level of control doesn't come by accident. It begins with self-awareness. Don't wait until emotions run high to examine yourself. Make it a daily ritual. Each evening, take 5 minutes to write, "What did I feel today? When was I tempted to react? What made me proud?" These small moments of reflection create clarity, and clarity becomes control. Consider this moment. During a high-stakes meeting, the CEO of a major company, let's call him David, was publicly challenged on a key proposal. All eyes turned to him. He felt the surge of emotion, defensiveness, frustration, but instead of reacting, he paused. A few seconds of silence. Then, calmly, he said, "Help me understand your main concern." That one question shifted the mood from confrontation to collaboration, and in doing so, revealed a critical flaw in the plan, saving the company from a costly mistake. That's emotional agility in action, not suppressing emotion, but standing above it, not being pulled into someone else's chaos, but inviting others into your calm. And yes, you will slip, you'll react, say things you regret. But mastery doesn't mean perfection, it means growth. What matters is that you notice, you learn, and you return stronger. This is the discipline of the Stoic, to feel deeply but act wisely. Number 2, prioritize mental and physical well-being. In times of chaos, most people search outward for solutions, escapes, distractions, forgetting that clarity and control begin within. You cannot expect a turbulent mind and a worn-out body to stay focused or respond with wisdom. Even the most talented leader becomes impulsive and scattered if they neglect their well-being. Stoic philosophy does not ask us to change the world before we change ourselves. It teaches us that inner mastery is the only true stability, and that begins with honoring your mind and body as the foundation of all strength. Seneca once wrote, "A man is as miserable as he thinks he is, not as the world makes him, but as he perceives it." And perception is shaped by your state of mind and body. Sleep too little, eat poorly, never pause to breathe, and the smallest stress will feel like collapse. But nurture your inner world, and even the fiercest storm will seem like a test you're prepared for. The answer isn't in complexity, it's in discipline. A quiet morning, 15 minutes of breath, stillness and gratitude, a short walk without your phone, a journal that holds your truth, not your performance. These simple acts remind you, I can shape today. Set boundaries. Say no to what drains your peace. Turn off work after hours. Protect your energy not out of selfishness, but out of self-respect. A person who guards their time is someone who understands its sacredness and don't carry every burden alone. Even Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor who bore the weight of wars, plagues, and political unrest, did not rely solely on strength. He wrote to himself nightly, untangling his thoughts with logic and truth. In those late hours, surrounded by uncertainty, he would reflect and remind himself, you have power over your mind, not outside events. His journal was not therapy, it was armor. His clarity was forged, word by word, thought by thought. So if you wish to master emotion and sharpen focus, begin here. Take care of your vessel, not as indulgence, but as duty. Because when your body stands strong and your mind walks in peace, the world's chaos becomes mere noise, and you, like a true Stoic, will stand unshaken, your gaze calm, your soul unbending. I will not be subdued. Number 3, foster a culture of trust and collaboration. In times of uncertainty, when things feel unstable, all eyes instinctively turn to one place, the leader. People don't just seek direction, they seek steadiness, calm, a reason to believe that despite the storm, the ship will hold. In such moments, a culture grounded in trust and collaboration becomes more than a nice idea. It becomes a lifeline. To build that culture, a leader must embrace what the Stoics called courage in truth. Transparency isn't weakness. It's a form of strength that speaks softly but carries great weight. When you share even the hard news openly, you signal confidence, not just in yourself, but in the people around you. Truth may sting briefly, but ambiguity corrodes trust over time. I once knew a young CEO, let's call her Maya, who faced a major financial collapse. The numbers were grim, but instead of hiding, she gathered her team and said, I don't have the answer yet, but I have all of you, and that gives me hope. That one moment didn't solve the crisis, but it sparked unity. Together, they found a way forward. Maya understood something vital. Leadership isn't always about having the answer. It's about never hiding from the question. As Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. When you respond with openness and invite others into the process, you cultivate something stronger than loyalty. You build trust. And trust becomes the soil where courage grows. But trust doesn't grow in silence. The most dangerous culture is one where people are too afraid to speak. As a leader, or simply as a teammate, your duty is to draw out the quieter voices, to make space for doubt, and to listen without judgment. People don't need permission to speak. They need to feel that their voice matters. And when progress comes, no matter how small, celebrate it. I remember Maya again, applauding after landing a small but meaningful contract. At first, it seemed minor, but the room stood with her. Not for the deal, but for what it represented. We are moving forward. In the end, a culture of trust is not built in grand speeches, but in quiet acts of courage, honest dialogue, and the willingness to celebrate the journey, step by step, together. Number 4, focus on what you can control. There's a truth every Stoic eventually embraces. The world will always shift, and uncertainty is its constant companion. You cannot control the storm outside, the criticism of others, or the sudden turns of fortune. But you can control one thing, your response. And that is where real power begins. The difference between a mind in chaos and a mind at peace lies in focus. Most people waste energy worrying about what others think. The raised eyebrow from a boss, the silence after a comment, the fluctuations of the market. But a Stoic focuses inward. Picture this. In a high-stakes meeting, all eyes on you. But instead of shrinking or over-explaining, you sit tall, grounded, composed. Your hands are steady, your breath is calm. You speak with clarity, not to please, but to solve. That presence is not arrogance. It's a quiet declaration. I am here to control only what is mine. Marcus Aurelius said it best. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. When this idea sinks in, it changes everything. Anxiety fades, not because the world becomes easier, but because your grip on what matters becomes firmer. Angela Maya, a former European leader, embodied this. During multiple crises, she faced relentless public scrutiny, but in every press conference, she remained steady. No defensiveness, no dramatics, just calm updates, actionable steps, and clarity. She didn't waste energy arguing with critics. She used it to prepare backup plans, to adjust strategies, and to lead her team forward. That kind of focus doesn't come from detachment. It comes from discipline. And one way to build that discipline is through perspective. Practice gratitude, not as a cliché, but as a lens. When you begin to see the strength in your health, the value of your relationships, and the chances you still have, you stop chasing shadows. Your mind anchors to the present, where real action happens. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, pause. Ask one simple question. What can I control right now? That question is your lifeline. It pulls you from the storm and places your feet back on solid ground. If this resonates with you, do a small act of Stoic service. Like this video, subscribe, and help share this clarity with someone else who may need it. Let's keep moving forward. Number 5. Continuously learn and adapt. Emotional control and lasting focus aren't just about staying calm during conflict. They come from a deeper trait, the willingness to learn and adapt. In Stoic philosophy, true strength isn't shown in resistance to change, but in the discipline to evolve before life forces your hand. To be proactive in growth is to live with dignity. The world doesn't pause. What served you well yesterday might be irrelevant today. The only constant is change, and the only solid ground is a mind prepared to meet it. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Every challenge is not just a problem, it's a prompt, an invitation to observe, adapt, and improve. What you call a barrier may in fact be a direction. Life doesn't block your path, it reshapes it. Take Daniel Price, a modern entrepreneur who transformed his business model multiple times. He started in e-commerce, but when the market shifted, he didn't cling to what once worked. Instead, he studied the trends, listened to customers, and shifted into logistics technology. The transition was uncertain, but it kept his mission alive. Daniel didn't react in fear. He moved with awareness. That's focus, not stubbornness, but clarity in motion. And here's the question his story poses. Are you living in a model that no longer fits simply because it once brought comfort? Adaptation is not abandonment. It's the courage to update your approach without losing your core values. The Stoics taught that while we can't control what life brings, we can always control how we grow from it. Each challenge holds a lesson, and perhaps instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" we should ask, "What is this meant to teach me?" That shift in perspective doesn't just reduce stress, it creates purpose. Learning, evolving, and adjusting don't signal confusion. They reflect wisdom. To stand still when necessary, move when required, and act with intention despite uncertainty. That is true emotional mastery. You don't have to declare your strength loudly. If you commit to learning, if you adapt with grace, your actions will speak for you. Calm, clear, unshaken. Number 6. Lead with empathy and compassion. Leadership isn't just about giving direction, it's about presence. Sometimes the strongest act a leader can take is not charging ahead, but pausing to look into the eyes of those beside them and ask, "How are you really doing?" True leadership begins not with authority, but with empathy. Think of those tense moments in a meeting room, nervous glances, tapping fingers, the silence thick with unspoken worry. People aren't afraid of you. They're afraid of failing, of not being seen, of not being enough. In those moments, a small gesture, a nod, a soft word, or a sincere question can dismantle walls built by fear. Consider the story of Thomas Reeve, a once retired CEO who returned during a crisis to lead his company back from collapse. Revenues had plummeted, morale was at an all-time low, but Reeve didn't begin by issuing commands. He visited teams, listened, not to respond, but to understand. He asked, "What's been hardest for you lately?" Many cried, not because of failure, but because for the first time someone truly saw them. When difficult decisions followed, closures, layoffs, they weren't met with bitterness, but with understanding. Because people knew they were more than numbers, they were heard. And from that, trust was born. From that, the company didn't just recover, it evolved. The Stoics taught that calm isn't detachment, it's being fully present without being controlled by emotion. Empathy is not a surrender of strength, it is strength guided by wisdom. When you offer a listening ear instead of rushing to fix things, you build safety, and in safety, resistance fades. But empathy isn't just listening, it's noticing. It's the moment you see a colleague pulling back, missing deadlines, growing quieter. Instead of asking, "Is something wrong?" a wise leader might say, "I've noticed you seem a little off lately. Just know, I'm here if you need support." That's not performance, that's presence. And remember, you can't lead others calmly if you yourself are reactive. You can't preach patience if you rush past exhaustion in others. Every time you pause instead of lash out, ask instead of accuse, you lead by example. That's where true influence begins. So how do you lead with empathy and stay grounded in the face of pressure? You return to yourself. You reflect. And in the next part, we'll explore how moments of silence and self-dialogue become your secret source of strength. Are you ready? Number 7. Reflect and refocus regularly. Emotional control and steady focus are not one-time achievements. They are disciplines renewed through repetition. Like an archer who adjusts after every shot, we must live in a cycle: act, observe, reflect, and refine. Without regular reflection, we risk drifting, mistaking motion for direction. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, was not a distant figure untouched by doubt. He was a man burdened with power, surrounded by noise, facing betrayal and war. Yet, night after night, he returned to his journal, not to teach others, but to face himself. In meditations, he asked simple yet profound questions. Have I acted with kindness? Did I let anger lead me? What matters most? This daily practice didn't make him perfect, it made him intentional. Now ask yourself, do you do the same? At the end of the day, do you sit quietly, without screens, without noise, and ask, what did I handle well? Where did I fall short? What needs to shift tomorrow? Without these moments, small missteps go unchecked, and focus begins to fracture, not from a lack of will, but from too much unchecked motion. I remember a woman named Clara, a founder, who once told me, I thought I was strong until I realized I was running blind, not from failure, but from the absence of pause. She started setting aside time each week to ask herself 3 questions. What's working? What's not? What needs adjusting? Just 10 honest minutes each week. Within months, she told me, I didn't have all the answers, but I had my hands back on the wheel. And reflection isn't complete without gratitude. If you only see your flaws, you'll burn out. But if you also notice what you've done right, no matter how small, you'll stay grounded in self-respect and calm strength. This is what Stoicism teaches: to know yourself, to accept yourself, and to grow one step at a time. So tonight, take 10 minutes to be still. Don't chase perfection. Just be honest. Because focus isn't about speed. It's about staying true to your path. And if you've ever had a moment where stillness changed your direction, share it below. Your journey might inspire someone else to pause, reflect, and begin again. Number 8. Lead with clarity, amid uncertainty. What will you do when a room full of people turns to you, not just for answers, but for assurance, while you yourself are uncertain of what lies ahead? In that moment, when pressure rises and eyes search your face for direction, will you react out of fear or respond with quiet resolve? To lead in uncertainty is not to chase absolute clarity, because the truth is, none of us are handed perfect maps through chaos. What we are given is the chance to choose our mindset, and Stoicism teaches us this. When the world is unclear, your inner clarity becomes the compass. Think of Jonathan Hale, a leader during a national crisis whose words were often dissected, challenged, and misunderstood. Yet, in the heat of division and tension, he didn't rush to speak. He listened first. When he finally spoke, his words were deliberate, calm, clear, and grounded in principle. Not because he had all the answers, but because he had integrity, a pause before speaking, a steady gaze. These are not tricks, they are signals. While others react in panic, your stillness says, I am not ruled by circumstances, I choose my response. And in that choice, dignity is preserved and clarity begins to form. But this presence isn't born in public. It's cultivated in private, through quiet reflection, honest self-questioning, and faith. You ask yourself, is this truly worth my peace? And most often the answer is no. Remaining calm doesn't mean you ignore emotion. It means you place it in its rightful place, acknowledged, understood, but not in command. Real leadership isn't about loud declarations or dominating a room. It's about helping others see hope, even in fog. You may not control the future, but you can always control how you walk into it, calmly, clearly, and with conviction. Because even when the world grows loud and blurry, the clarity within you, shaped by discipline, humility, and daily practice, can still light the way forward. We've just explored a powerful truth. Emotional control and focus aren't traits you're born with, but skills you can build. Sometimes the strongest message is sent not with words, but with a calm gaze or silent pause. When you stop reacting to everything, you begin to lead yourself. In tough moments, how do you respond? A. Argue. B. Stay silent but feel hurt. C. Stay silent and observe. D. Walk away. Type your choice below, your response. If this message spoke to you, feel free to like and subscribe. And don't miss the next video, where we dive into how to face judgment with the calm of a true Stoic. You're growing. Keep going.